Marvel Studios, sit down. We need to talk. I think we need to stop seeing each other. I don't know about you, but I haven't been happy with our interactions pretty much since Avengers Endgame, and I think the time has come for me to move on. I think that would be the best for both of us. Now, don't go thinking this is because you're trying new things and creating new characters and storylines. I think it's great that you're trying new things. After all, one of the big problems with superhero movies and TV shows is that actors age, and these days it seems to be really hard to recast someone without everyone online losing their minds over it. So, yeah, you naturally want new characters you can cast with people who'll be able to stick around for a long time and keep making movies and TV shows and so on. New stuff isn't the problem. The problem is, I'm just not feeling the same way about the things you do that I used to. The entertainment press loves to speculate on when superhero fatigue will set in with general audiences, and while I don't think that will ever happen as long as there's kids and teenagers who love superheroes, for me personally, it's become a very real thing. Take your latest offering. I saw Thor: Love and Thunder, and while I was caught up in the ride while the movie was playing, when it was over, I just felt kind of hollow. Like, what I had seen, despite having themes of loss, faith, and moving on to the next phase of your life, wasn't very substantial. Which is not to say that Love and Thunder is a bad movie, it's a very good movie. But when I really thought about it, I realized I've pretty much felt the same way after nearly every post-Endgame project that I've seen. I felt the same hollowness after I saw Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Shang-Chi, Loki, WandaVision, and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Stuff I liked well enough while I was watching it, but little to no desire to ever watch any of them again. Spider-Man No Way Home is the only one of these I saw more than once, but after that second viewing, I haven't had any desire to watch that one again either. Eternals is a gorgeously shot, well-acted, well-directed sci-fi epic. I'm glad it exists. I'm glad I saw it, but I'm never going to watch it again because I mostly just don't care about things that happen on the cosmic level of your universe. As for Black Widow, well, sorry Marvel, but I didn't bother with it because I've never liked Black Widow all that much in your movies. She was fine being constantly annoyed by Tony Stark in Iron Man 2, but from what I saw, she got less and less personality in each successive movie she was in. Joss Whedon turned her into generic kick-ass action girl 5231 in the first Avengers movie, and I don't know if it was the writing or the direction or Scarlett Johansson herself, but Natasha just looked bored through every successive movie she was in. Endgame just underlined it for me. When Natasha sacrificed herself to get the Soul Stone, I just did not care. At all. This was supposed to be one of the big heart-wrenching moments of the movies, and I didn't feel a damn thing. Maybe her solo movie fixed some of this, but I'm not going to know because I don't care enough about her to bother seeing it. And really, that's kind of the crux of the whole thing. I don't feel like I'm watching these movies and shows because I want to. I'm watching them because I feel like I have to. It's starting to feel like homework, especially now that you're branching out into TV. I didn't mind watching WandaVision, not because of the characters, but because the history of television is one of my personal interests. So a show that more or less seemed to follow that history while also having an intriguing what the hell is going on mystery behind it? Yeah, I could get behind that. Loki isn't exactly my favorite character, but the sheer weirdness and quasi-religio-fascist setting of the TVA was enough to pique my curiosity and keep me invested in what was going to happen. But then I got to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and don't get me wrong, I'm glad we got a story of how Sam Wilson decides to take up the mantle of Captain America. That's cool, and so was the big twist as to who the actual bad guy was all along. All good stuff. But that was also when I started to feel the hollowness I talked about earlier once I was done. I wasn't keeping up on the show from week to week. I waited till it was all out so I could binge it because while I liked the characters, I wasn't sure I actually wanted to sit through an 8-hour serialized version of the adventures of Bucky and Sam. And when it was over, I realized I couldn't remember most of what happened in the show, and more to the point, I didn't care. And when the announcements came of future TV projects, I looked at the time investment I was being asked to make, and the characters involved, and I just said, nah. Hawkeye has never been interesting to me. Same with Moon Knight, same with Ms. Marvel. I know these characters have their fans and that's why you greenlit these series, but I have neither the time nor inclination to spend multiple hours with characters I don't have any interest in, no matter how relevant things that happen in those series become to whatever else is coming down the pipe. And this point was underlined to me very clearly by, of all people, my mother. You see, Mom isn't a fan of comics or superheroes. Oh, she knows more than most because she raised me and has picked up plenty of stuff by cultural osmosis, but she's not really a fan. She does, however, like the work of Benedict Cumberbatch, so she surprised me by asking if I wanted to see the first Doctor Strange movie with her. We did, and she had a good time, and that was pretty much the end of it. Until I asked her if she wanted to see Spider-Man No Way Home because Doctor Strange is in it. She said yes, and it wasn't until I got off the phone with her that I realized, oh crap, I don't think she's seen anything else in the MCU. Fortunately, at that time, the solution was fairly easy. She only needed to see the two other MCU Spider-Man movies, Infinity War and Endgame, to understand what the current status quo was for both characters. And later I found out she never actually watched Endgame, but apparently Far From Home did a pretty decent job of explaining what she needed to know concerning the fallout from that movie. And later, when we saw Multiverse of Madness, I didn't have the heart to ask her to invest the time in WandaVision, especially since I was pretty sure she didn't care about Wanda or Vision. So I just summarized the basic gist that Wanda went a little crazy after Endgame and everything she did, so Mom had context for Wanda's reveal as the villain of the movie. But that was also when I realized I was running into the same problem with you that I have with your older brother, Marvel Comics. I've never been much of a fan of Marvel Comics because I want to be able to follow the characters I like without having to worry about what characters I don't care about are doing. If they show up in a guest spot or an event or a crossover, that's cool. But the main thing I didn't like about reading Marvel Comics is that often something would happen in, say, a Spider-Man comic that makes no sense unless I also happen to have read, say, an issue of the Silver Surfer. Except I don't care about the Silver Surfer, and most of the time the issue in question turned out to be one that was printed years or even decades before and was almost impossible to track down. It's annoying and frustrating, and continual reliance on this is why I stopped reading Marvel Comics years ago. In short, Marvel Studios, while bringing all these characters and franchises together in one universe is a key element of your success, at this point, it's starting to feel like a slog. And it's not a very compelling slog either. I don't want to invest 6 to 8 hours on a TV series about a character I either don't like or am ambivalent about in order to understand something set up in a movie. I don't have that kind of time. Sure, most of your movies are making an effort to make sure you don't necessarily have to have seen the shows to enjoy it, but I guarantee you, there's still a lot of people who are confused about when the hell Wanda had kids after seeing Multiverse of Madness. Yes, her motivations were explained in the film, but they don't have any actual context. And not everyone can invest the time or even the money in a Disney Plus subscription to get that context. I mean, let's be honest, to understand the basic concept of the Marvels when it comes out, audiences are going to be expected to have seen Captain Marvel, Avengers Endgame, WandaVision, and Ms. Marvel. The movie may wind up structured in such a way that it isn't exactly required, but that expectation is still there, and the onus is on the potential audience to make the time to see all this stuff before they see the movie. I don't like having that onus put on me, Marvel. My enjoyment of any particular film you put out should not be contingent on me watching a TV series or other movie I have no interest in to feel like I'm getting all the context or the full picture of what's going on in the movie I'm currently watching. Nor do I like the implication that if I don't make that effort and force myself to watch something I don't have any interest in, it's my fault somehow for not making that effort. You may not intend it to be that way, but the implication is still there. Especially if you run into the die-hard Marvel fans who devour anything and everything you put out. And this is starting to bleed into my enjoyment of franchises within your universe that I do enjoy. I liked the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, but given how I felt after seeing Eternals, Multiverse of Madness, and Love and Thunder, I'm having some low-grade dread that Guardians 3 will leave me with the same hollow feeling, regardless of the fact that it's James Gunn in the director's chair. Love and Thunder had Taika Waititi there, and I loved Thor Ragnarok, but Love and Thunder didn't really do it for me. And I'm pretty sure at this point Guardians 3 won't either. So yeah, I don't think the problem is necessarily you. I think it's me. I think after nearly 15 years of being invested in the characters and stories you've been telling, I've had enough. I'm just not interested in keeping up with the minutia anymore. If a movie or TV series you put out looks entertaining to me, sure, I'll probably see it, but I'm not going to be checking out everything. I need to change things up. Let me put it this way. Your movies and TV shows are like pizza. I love pizza. I think it's great. And even when the pizza is bad, it's still pizza and usually tastes pretty good. But you can't live exclusively on pizza. You can get sick of it after a while. You need some variety in your diet or the pizza stops being special. And where your projects are concerned, I've reached that point. Every time you put out a new show or movie, it dominates the pop culture discourse. You're putting out, on average, 3 movies a year, and the gaps are getting filled by your TV shows. It feels like it's all Marvel all the time now. When a TV show drops, that's all anyone wants to talk about. When a new movie comes out, my local 24-screen multiplex has half of those screens taken up by it, leaving little to no space for anything new but different. And have you noticed that it seems nobody puts any counter-programming out on the weekends you have a movie premiering? Or if they do, it's stuff your competitors clearly have no faith in anyway, so what's the point? I'm breaking up with you, Marvel. I'm not getting what I need from this relationship anymore. I'll still check in on you from time to time, but our days of hanging out all the time are kinda over. You'll be fine. You're still making all the money in the world, and there's still plenty of people who gladly look at anything you have to offer. And like I said, if you have something that piques my interest, I'll probably show up every once in a while too. Goodbye, Marvel. It was fun while it lasted.
Superpowers from the forehead to the toes. Watch them change their very shape before your nose. The arcane striking superhero came to